The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome in to an all-new edition of the Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball Show on the Belly Up Sports Network. We are a full week and a half into the baseball season, and we have a lot of things to discuss today. I'm Vince Stover, and I am joined, as I am every week, by the senior writer for Belly Up Sports and the Belly Up Fantasy side of things, especially the one and only Kevin Wilson. Hey, Kev, how you doing, man?
Oh, we're doing great here, Vince. We got through the rainy period, and the stormy period, and it's 40-some degrees, so we've cooled back down a little bit. But you know, it's interesting because yesterday we went and had some lunch. Look up at the game between Detroit and the Chicago White Sox was on.
Yeah.
And today we got home. We were sitting there having dinner, and it's the Angels and Cleveland Guardians on TV. So baseball is on, and so I'm very excited about that, and I'm ready to go here.
Quick word, shout out, thoughts and prayers to all those affected by the flooding. I know Kentucky, where we just moved from a month ago, has been absolutely hammered. We got friends with water in the house and water rising. So to everyone impacted, I know
That's
people
right.
out in North Carolina still just getting beat. Thoughts and prayers to everybody there, and stay safe. And hopefully we'll give you something else to think about here.
That's right. We're here to help you out with that.
This hour.
I've seen some pretty incredible videos of some tornadoes that have been going on the last couple of days too. So hopefully everybody's okay from that.
For sure. All right, well, let's get into the show. We've got a great show lined up for you. We're looking back at the player rankings to do a quick look back on where we stand or what we would change in these first several games of the season. We'll be talking Major League Baseball news, including new contracts. And then we'll get into the waiver wire additions for this week and all the advice that you need. Let's get started with segment number one. We call it the Fantasy Burner. The Fantasy Burner is presented by BellyUpSports.com. I don't know that I should say this. Don't go to it right at this moment. Having a few issues, but it'll be up and running again soon. And once we're back up and running, lots of great coverage on BellyUpSports.com. And again, it's where you can find all of Kevin's articles as well. Today we're looking back at our player rankings, Kevin, and we're saying, okay, man, if I knew then what I know now, I would either stay right where I was or I would make some changes. And so I've got 3 stands and 5 changes on my list, Kevin. And so I'm going to give you where I stand. I'll give you the 3 that I've got. You can comment on your thoughts on those, and then we'll go to where you stand as well. So things that I said and I'm sticking with. Salvador Perez and Cal Raleigh are not top tier catchers. They are ranked there. I had them 5 and 6. But in me, they were not in that top tier, which were for me, Rutschman and Contreras. And I stand on that. They're still not horrible, drop them, those kinds of things. But they're not top tier catchers. Another catcher thing that I'm standing on, I said one of the value picks at catcher this year, Jonah Heim from the Texas Rangers. I'm going to stick with that. I like it. And so I'm sticking with that one. And then the last one I've got Naylor over Walker. Naylor goes to Arizona, Walker from Arizona to Houston. Again, I had Naylor, I think 4 or 5, and Walker at 5 or 6 right below him. But I'm sticking with that. Naylor, better fantasy player than Christian Walker this season. So those are the 3 areas I looked back on and said, I'm definitely sticking. There were others, of course, number ones and things like that, obvious ones. But those are the ones that I'm sticking with.
Okay, so I think that's some pretty good stands right there. And so I'm going to start with my stands. Because the first ratings that we did were at the catcher position.
Right.
Okay, so, and one of the ones that I really got taken behind the woodshed because I didn't have Wilson Contreras on my top 10 catcher list. He's still not on it.
Right.
I'm standing on that. 0 for 19 to start the season, didn't have a hit till Wednesday. Okay.
But Kevin, he's first base eligible. Why is he not in your top 3? I mean, he's so great now that he's going to be playing first base. That's what Reddit told us.
That's right. That's right. I remember that and got completely disassembled because of it. But and so he struck out 3 times in the first game of the doubleheader, and he didn't get picked up today. He got dropped by your dad, and I thought that was certainly deserved. And struck out 3 times in the first game. He had 2 hits in the second, but still, I am staying way off of him. He didn't provide last year, and he's not providing this year, so I'm staying. He's off my top 10. He's still there, still gone from there. But his brother, though, William, I had as the number 1 catcher in all of fantasy baseball, and he isn't doing any better. But I'm standing by that.
Okay.
I think that he's got a track record, and he's going to get that together before the end of the season. So I am standing by him as being the number 1 catcher in fantasy. He will get that together. Let's see. You might not like this too much, but I had Kyle Tucker ranked inside my top 5 outfielders. I think he was top 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And I already talked about him on my MVP series. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But what more could you ask for out of this guy? He actually ran down Aaron Judge as the top player in fantasy baseball in week 1.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly standing on that. That's really not something that I question a whole lot of, but he's still right there. Another player that I'm standing by, and that's UC Kikuchi over there with the Angels that I had in my top pitchers list. And so he's gone 6 innings and his first 2 starts. So I think that is looking good. So those are the areas that I am standing completely and firmly on, even with the negative results some of these have had so far.
I like him. I'll talk about Kyle Tucker more in just a moment. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at what we've seen so far, and some of them are more obvious than others. I like your stand on Contreras. I had Rutschman 1 and Contreras 2, but they were the same tier for me. And obviously I'm really hoping Contreras and the Brewers gets it together and they have gotten better.
I can see that
over the week. So
097 is what he's hitting as of today.
Yeah.
So that's not top 1, of course. But
all right, I'm going to let you go with the changes.
Changes. Okay. So I had, we're going to start with Mark Vientos, third baseman of the New York Mets.
I wondered if he was going to get brought up in this show.
He was going to have to get brought up because remember, I had him on my top 10 list of third baseman. Okay. And I actually drafted him. But this is thinking where there's no paddles, there's no life preservers going on right now. He's hitting the 118 with no homers, 1 RBI, 2 runs scored. And so the ship is getting ready to get abandoned. And so I am stepping way off of this. He's not in the top 20
right
at the moment as far as third basemen are concerned.
I will say this about him. His draft value was low, like in the draft.
Right. Yes.
Because I have him in, I think, at least 2 leagues, maybe more. I know I have him in 2 leagues. And I mean, I got him late, really late. So thankfully, people didn't watch or didn't listen, one of the two, to your rankings at third base, and he fell. So at the value that I drafted him at, I'm really not out anything.
Right.
But I was surprised when you had him in the top 10. But you weren't the only one. There were others that really were high on him coming into the year. And at the end of the day, where he went in the drafts, I thought was still, you're not missing a lot. But I agree with you that that's probably a wise move to change that up if you could.
Okay, so one of the things over on the starting pitching side, I did not have Luis Castillo of the Seattle Mariners on my top 10 list. I believe you did. And so it's looking good so far. 12 innings, 4 runs, 8 hits, 9 strikeouts. Okay, so
I had him as a good value. I did not have him
good value. Okay, so I had him nowhere.
Yeah,
I wanted nothing to do with this guy whatsoever. And so unfortunately for me, I could use him on my fantasy team. And so I put him, he is certainly on the top 10 list of my starting pitchers at the moment. And so I was way off on that. Okay. And so, let's see here. Fernando Tatis. Okay. I had him on my top 10 list of outfielders, and we talked about it. I took him off. And so, let's see here. He's got 5-2 or more hit games so far, RBIs of 4 or 5 games. He's got 6 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 7 runs scored. And so this guy's doing it all for the Padres. And they started off, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit later. But as far as outfielders are concerned, this guy is riding right there in the top list of outfielders. I had him nowhere to be found in that list. So I am, you can call me, correctly castigated because I didn't have him on that list. And so, sorry about that.
All right. I've got some similar falters in my rankings. Start with Kyle Tucker, right? I had fully admitted that I'm always low on Tucker, and he was in my top 10, but he was at the bottom of it. I think he was 8 or 9. So yeah, I was wrong. He's the only good thing coming out of Chicago right now, it seems like. So congratulations to Kyle Tucker. Jazz Chisholm. I had him as number 10 as a second base and not in my top 10 as a third base. And that was clearly wrong until he gets popped for steroids. Jazz Chisholm is definitely a top 10 at either of those positions. I wrote down my entire second base rankings were off. So you can throw all of them out the window. Let me pull those up for you real quick. Simeon, Marte, Altuve, Albies makes sense. Arraez, Brandon Donovan at 6, Horner at 7, McLean at 8, Cronenworth at 9, and Terang at 10. Cronenworth, McLean, it's just not great. Albies is having a horrible start to the season. We'll see where it goes as we move on. Nolan Arenado. I'm a little surprised you didn't bring him up.
I actually have him written down right here.
Okay.
I thought you would go there, so yeah. I did not.
Yeah, we were wrong. Plain and
we
simple.
Were wrong.
He's having
100%
he's
wrong.
having a Chris Sale bounce back.
He is.
We talked about Chris Sale 2 years ago when he went to Atlanta, or last season we went to Atlanta, and we said, hey, injury prone. I can't trust him, whatever. And then he comes out and blows the door off. Nolan Arenado, maybe not that good, but still having a really solid year at third base again. And even though all the trade talk happened, maybe he's still going to get traded. I don't know, but he's playing really good baseball. And then the last one's Anthony Santander. Man, we just thought he was going to, stay a top 10 outfielder. And at this moment, not happening. He's just not there. Right.
Right. Hitting 206 at the moment. So I've got him written down too. And I actually drafted him. So I'm right there with you. I was all in on Anthony Santander. Actually, I brought him up, if you remember, on draft day.
Yeah.
And, he's a good player. Yeah. And so I certainly wasn't the only one that felt that way. And but it's not looking great, but I'm still not going to step off of him just yet.
Yeah. All right. All right. That's it for our Fantasy Burner segment. Throughout the year, we'll go back and look at our rankings and kind of see if some of these players bounce back or if we were just completely wrong all the way around. We'll also tell you where we were right, but we'll admit where we were wrong.
Hopefully we'll be right more than we are wrong. I'm confident in saying that.
Yeah. And I will say this too. I don't think I'm going to lose at all in our fantasy league, Kevin. I feel pretty confident right now. My team is rolling. Now, granted,
I'm 2-0 as well, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah. All right. Enough bragging. That's it for the Fantasy Burner. Let's move on to segment number 2. We call it the Hot Corner. Our Hot Corner is presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution at righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code BELLYUP. You're going to get 15% off your purchase. And I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. Righteous Felon, they produce phenomenal quality of jerky. The texture is great. The taste is great. The flavors, they got so many options, really spicy stuff to mild stuff. They have a turkey jerky that's really good, the fowl capone. I love the bootleg and barbecue. It's got kick to it, but it is awesome. So anyways, check it out. righteousfelon.com. Use that promo code BELLYUP. You get 15% every time you check out at Righteous Felon Jerky.
Well, anything that's called fowl capone deserves a checkout.
It's good, man. It's really good. All right. And they got beef sticks too. They got a
That's
couple
right.
other options.
I've had them. The tacos. Awesome.
Yep. Walking taco. Yep.
Yep.
All right. Let's start off with this. Two big contracts. Or not, well, one of them's big, but two good contracts. Jackson Merrill, 9 years, $135 million. Just a star in the making. Tatis is better than him at the moment, fantasy wise and everything, but Merrill's really good. I think he had a home run today as well. And then Christian Campbell in Boston. This one's interesting. 8 years, $60 million. And I mean, it's a great deal for Boston. I don't know that Campbell should have signed this one. I feel like he could have gotten more by the end of the season, even. But what you're seeing is we saw Jackson Chourio do this before he even played in the majors, got a big deal from the Brewers. We're seeing these young guys getting locked up early because the teams are going to save money by locking them up early. So these 9-year deal, 8-year deal, whatever it may be, it's great for the clubs. And Boston and San Diego doing that. I think wise moves for both teams.
I do as well, and I thought it was interesting because I saw that the players' union was upset with Jackson Merrill for taking that deal. But if you're him and you're set now,
right?
And so you don't have to worry about anything now,
right?
Because anything could happen. He could get hit, hopefully not, but he could get hit in the helmet tomorrow and then miss the rest of the year and have to fight his way. We've seen that 1,000 times over, but he's set now for the rest of his life and his kids and kids and kids and kids and kids. So I understand why he took it. He was happy with it. And I think that is something that's significant, that's changing in the way of, especially in the super agent era.
Yeah.
That players are taking charge of their own careers. And so I'm glad to see that they're, because it's their career. And so take charge of it and do with it what you will. Listen to your representatives and take their advice, of course. But in the end, it's your decision.
Well, think about it from the team perspective. Would you rather sign a 42-year-old Albert Pujols to a 10-year deal or sign Jackson Merrill to a 10-year deal? Because what happens for Jackson Merrill is the team gets a relatively friendly contract, but they commit to him for long term. His money's there, but he gets a chance to sign a second contract.
That's right.
He's still playing well in 9 years. And at his age, he'll be in the prime of his career when this 9 years expires. So, and same for Christian Campbell. I think that he kind of got gypped a little bit on the money side of things, but he's still set for life, and he gets to sign another contract in 8 years when he's only 28, 29. I don't remember how old Christian Campbell is. But
it's his first year, so he can't be that old.
Yeah, so he might even be 19. I don't think he's 19 because Chourio was 19. He was the youngest. So he's probably 2021. But anyways, I can probably look it up. But anyways, he gets a chance to sign another contract in the prime of his career and, set for life, like you said. So
and these teams now, Boston and San Diego, not that they're crying poverty or anything like that, but they can make moves. Not know that they're got to send $210 million a year for either one of these guys in the future,
right?
And so, Tom Brady always took a discount, and I don't recall anybody getting on his case about it. So, well, maybe they did.
They did, yeah. But at the same time,
right, and that's why he's got 8 championships,
right?
So. Yeah. So step off of that. Like I said, that's the player's career. I'm glad to see them making their own decisions and not going by the super agent, because that's hosed up a couple of players the last couple of years who have stayed out of camp and everything else and got off to horrible starts, and there's no contracts coming for some of these guys.
As of 8:51 Central Time on April the 4th or April the 6th, excuse me, Aaron Judge leads the league with 6 home runs. Are we gonna see a historic year for Aaron Judge?
Well, historic for him is he's going to have to hit 3? So I don't think so.
Okay.
It could be historic by the standards of just about any other player. I expect that he's probably going to hit 50 or more. And so this guy right here, because we talked about if Ohtani wasn't number one, because he's both, and we can talk about that in a minute as well. But in other leagues, I thought Aaron Judge would be a very solid number one pick, and he is certainly showing that he is. So I'm good on you if you took Aaron Judge.
Yeah, he's rolling right now.
He is, and as long as he, like I said, don't run into outfield walls, he's good to go.
I'll say it now. Let's put him on watch. I think we're in for possibly a historic year, where Judge makes a run at, dare I say, the home run record.
Okay,
and I think we're in. Health is everything, but the way he's crushing right now, we'll keep track of it. I think we need to watch this.
Okay.
20 players have already had multiple home run games this season. 20 players have hit 2 or more in a game. Several have hit 3 already this year in a game. I say several, a couple have, but some of these guys in that 20 aren't, the names you'd think either. But that being said, this is wild. What are you thinking about, guys? I'm trying to look real quick. Of course, Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, who we talked about last week. Jonah Heim's on that list. Soderstrom, who we talked about a little bit 2 weeks ago from the A's. He's in that list. Cedric Mullins is on that list. So Herrera hit 3 the other day for the Cardinals. So, we've got ourselves an interesting list right now, and 20 guys, because 2 more today had multi-home run games. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about all these guys absolutely crushing it right now?
Well, you got to like that, because one of the issues that baseball has had over the last several years is offense has gone to, you got teams hitting 220.
Right.
Right? Whole teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe it is that they've got it so that they're not always trying to, pull the ball now, or something's going on here. And so I like what I'm seeing. And but at the same time, you're seeing some pretty good pitching, performances. And so the game is looking healthy to me. And I'm pretty excited about that, because you got teams that are putting offense on the board, and you still can get one of those. Look at the Rangers won back-to-back 1-0 games in Cincinnati, no less.
Yeah.
Okay, for the first time in franchise history. It had not happened. And we can talk about the Reds as well, because they lost 3 straight 1-0 games. And that hasn't happened since, I have it written down here, since 1960, Philadelphia Phillies were the last team to do that. And that's 60, 70 years ago, whatever it is. And so you're seeing offense, you're seeing pitching. So I am quite pleased so far with how baseball is looking.
I agree. I think we're in for quite the season, honestly, because things have already started to level out, even at the top. So let's look in the American League first.
Okay.
In the American League East, Yankees are 6-3. Red Sox, 4-game win streak now, 5-4. They, at the beginning, you talked to me 5 days ago, and I go, oh man, what's going on with the Red Sox? They've got it back together. Blue Jays are at 500. Let's celebrate that, because it might be the last time we see it. The Rays are at 4-5, and the Orioles at 4-6. You look at run differential, Yankees plus 31. Everybody else is closer to 0, right? Red Sox plus 7, Rays plus 6, Orioles dead 0, and the Jays at -6. It looked like after the way the Yankees played the Brewers, the Yankees may never lose again.
That's right. And we talked about that last week. And so
great team, no doubt, super talented.
No question. But Arizona went in there and cooled down those Yankee hitters.
Yeah.
That was one of the series that we highlighted a week ago, and it certainly lived up to that.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Any thoughts on the other teams in that division? Anybody? I mean, again, we're only 10 games in for most people, but immediate thoughts on the AL East.
Well, Boston, as you mentioned, because the Rangers were all over them a weekend ago, and Willer Abreu, okay?
Yeah.
The Red Sox can fall down and praise all the Tully that they have him because he had a walk-off 10th inning home run yesterday. Okay. And so he's still doing it. We highlighted him as a waiver wire pickup a week ago, and he's still doing it. Christian Campbell, we talked about him a moment ago. He had a horrible spring. Horrible. But I picked him up anyway, and it's working out because he's playing well. And Rafael Devers, who struck out 1 million times in the first week of the season, actually he's getting it together as I thought he would.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, hey, if you're thinking about trading Rafael Devers, you can call me right now, and I would take that trade any day of the week. So Boston's looking good. The Yankees, I know they lost to Pittsburgh today, but don't despair. Okay. They're going to be fine. So this is looking like an interesting baseball is better when you got the Yankees and the Red Sox battling it out at the top of that division.
AL Central, 5-4 Tigers lead the division by a game. Royals at 4-5, Guardians at 3-6, Twins at 3-6, White Sox at 2-7. And again, I know we're early in the season, but the Guardians being 3-6, they're only 2 games back, but yikes. I don't know. I expect more from them.
I did as well, but their last 6 games have been on the road. So I guess you can, don't bury them just yet. And so it's interesting because Detroit, they lost their first 3 games of the year. Remember. And so they're pulling things out a little bit. Their offense is looking all right. Their pitching's looking all right. So that's going to be an interesting division. We thought that, and I still think that's going to be the case. Kansas City, Cleveland. I'm ready to check out on Minnesota, and of course the White Sox. And they beat the Angels, yay them. Okay, but they haven't won a game since then. So
the Guardians are the only team in Major League Baseball to yet to play a home game. So all of their games have been on the road. They will host the White Sox this week. So congratulations to the Guardians.
So don't check on them yet.
They've got they're at -17 on the run differential.
Right that's a rough gig right there. Their offense should be better than
Lane
that.
Thomas.
We're going to get into him. Okay. You can best believe that.
All right. So we'll talk about that more. AL West Rangers at 8-2. The Angels, who in game 1 of the season, we're like, oh boy, Angels might be the worst team in Major League Baseball. They're 6-3. And then they got the Astros at 4-5, the A's at 4-6, the Mariners at 3-7. Let's talk about the Mariners because we were in. I said Mariners going to win the division. This has got to be the year they turn things around. 3-7, -16 run differential, 0-3 on the road, 3-4 at home, 1-5 against teams that are 500 or greater, which at this point in the season is whatever. But you got to be better than this to start the season.
You got to, and as you mentioned, Cleveland's been on the road, so you can give them a pass. But Seattle's played 7 home games.
Yeah,
and it's not working. I highlighted Luis Castillo a little bit ago, and so you can't say, well, he's not doing it because he is. Okay, right. And I'm going to have this as a bit of a flash forward, but I'm going to have a Seattle Mariners as a pickup player.
Okay.
And so they've got a few guys that are doing it, but where is the rest of these players?
Right.
The Mariners have always frustrated me because even though I live, here in Texas, I've been to Seattle a couple of times. I've been to I went to see him play the Kingdom. I didn't see him play in their new stadium, but and so their fans support them, but they're getting frustrated, and I understand it because every time they look like they're going to turn things, it just goes down the toilet.
All right, let me give you some interesting numbers real quick. The Rangers being 8-2, there's still not a team in the AL West with a positive run differential currently in this division. The Rangers after today -1, Angels after today -1 as well. The Rangers have scored third most runs in their division, which means they've not been scoring.
Suggested they might.
33 runs. That's not ideal. The Angels lead the West with 46 runs scored, but they've also given up 47, which is third in the division. Also, the A's giving up 62, and the Mariners.
What's going on with the A's, especially at home? They are getting absolutely flattened up there in Sacramento. So,
yeah,
if you've got pitchers, or
yeah. Well, I was talking to my 13-year-old today. He's in a couple leagues and with us, and he was talking about picking up guys, and he was talking about Nestor Cortez, who's went on the injured list today.
Right.
So he was getting rid of him and looking to pick up somebody, and he was asking about guys, and I was like, well, who are they playing? And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what matters right now at this level, what you're picking up, matchups is everything. So you want to find someone that's playing the A's, playing the White Sox, playing the Angels, maybe even to a degree, because the Angels are giving up runs.
Right.
So that's what you're looking for more than this guy's on a good team. It doesn't matter if he's playing another good team. You're picking the bottom of the barrel right now. So let's go matchups and figure it out. I'm sure we'll talk about some of that in our waiver wire pickups also. In the National League, it's wild in the East. I mean, the Phillies 7-2. The Mets are 6-3. The Marlins are still over 500 with the win today. They're 5-4. Nationals 3-6, and the Atlanta Braves, who I predicted would win the World Series or go to the World Series. I think I predicted them to win the World Series. They're 1-8 right now. Listen, they're not been horrible as far as they've only given up 36 runs, but they've only scored 24. And
we highlighted that last week. I did remember their entire team is not hitting.
Yeah.
And when's the switch going to get flipped on for them?
Now, again, they played 7 road games and only 2 home games.
Right.
So let's give them a little bit of time. But my goodness, you don't want to be 8 games down, or they're 6 games down already, because the Phillies aren't going to be easy to catch no matter what.
No, they beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3.
Yeah. So that's tough. And Mets on a 4-game win streak also. So congrats to them. Let's get to the Central, because we got to get to the West. So let's get to the Central. The Cubbies, congratulations, 7-5. Good for them. They've been scoring a lot of runs. They've been giving up a fair amount as well, though. So they're going to need to figure out their pitching a little bit, but the offense has been good. The Crew, after the horrible showing against the Yankees, they're now even at 500, 5-5. The Cardinals at 4-4. I wasn't sure we'd ever see them at 500, and they are. The Reds at 3-7. As they say in the South, bless their hearts. I mean, gracious. Pirates 3-7 with a win today. If you're a Reds fan, let me just start off by saying why. And then I'm sorry. I mean,
3 don't do that to yourself.
Of 1-0. Then they score 11 runs, and then they come back and don't do great today. So gracious. I don't want to spend too much time on the Central, but I can't. I don't know what to say about the Reds.
Well, I think you pretty much said it. Okay. And at least Pittsburgh at the bottom of the division. Come on. And they're booing their own players now.
Yeah.
Well, they're booing the management, not the players so much. Management and owner. And so that's already started in Pittsburgh. So I don't know how they can build such a picturesque stadium and put together such an awful product on the field.
All right, let's get to the West.
Okay.
All right. Because Kevin, who's in first place in the National League West?
Well, that would be the 8-1 San Francisco Giants.
Okay, so just to be clear, because Dad listens to the show.
Yep. Dale,
the
congrats to you. That's right.
First place
First
over the
place,
Dodgers, over
Giants.
the Padres. What were they? The last two teams to lose a game?
Yes.
Okay. The Giants are in first place.
They are. And
7-game win streak. They're 8-1. They're scoring runs, 49 runs scored.
That's the real shocker right there, because I didn't think anything about the Giant offense.
Yeah.
And they're doing it.
They've only given up 30 runs, which is second best in the division, by the way.
I kind of expected that. I like their pitching. I like their park as far as pitching is concerned.
Yeah, true.
So that's working out for them.
And they're hosting Cincinnati starting tomorrow as well. So next week, I anticipate the Giants still in first place in the division.
Well, that's pretty soft. Because they had Seattle over the weekend.
Yep.
And now they got Cincinnati coming in.
Yep.
And so, build on that.
That's right. I got to see the Willy Adames walk-off the other night. Congrats to Willie. I'm a big Willy Adames fan. I didn't think he was going to set the world on fire in San Francisco, but it was a fun experience to see, fun to watch, exciting times. Dodgers are right there, though, 9-2. They've scored the second most runs in the division behind the Diamondbacks. Padres are there at 8-2, and then Diamondbacks at 500, 5-5. And the Rockies, we just don't waste any time on them on this program. Padres 7-0 at home, Dodgers 6-0 at home, Giants 3-0 at home. So what I'm learning is if you're in the National League West, you're going to be strong at home.
Right. But there's the key, because the Giants have played just 3 games at home. Right. So that means they're winning on the road as well.
Right.
And so that's what separates a lot of these teams, that they can win 2 out of 3 at home, but then they go on the road and win 3 out of 10. And so that's not going to be the case in any of these top 4 teams, I don't believe, in the National League West this year.
Talk to me a little bit about Tyler Glasnow. Today it was raining in Philadelphia, ugly circumstances, but he walked 5 guys in less than 3 innings. And he got yanked with the bases loaded. I'm sitting here watching. I thought, is he hurt? What's going on? And he comes walking off the field. And again, horrible conditions to be playing baseball in, first of all. But you got to get the job done if you're on the mound. He did not get the job done. Is there any concern? For me, there's always health concerns with Glasnow. But when you see a performance like that, do you write it off as it was just the way it was? Raining, disgusting. He goes 2 innings, 5 earned runs, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 hits today in Philadelphia.
It's always a concern to me when a pitcher has wildness problems.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because he could be healthy, but then he can also be right in the back of the bus because he's not doing it.
Right.
And so we'll give him a pass for this because of the opponent first. And second, the conditions that you mentioned. And because the game before that, Roki Sasaki, who had walked 8,000 hitters before that, he looked like he was getting it to a little bit more together. So,
yeah.
And so they're going to need Glasnow, though, because Blake Snell just went on the IL.
Right.
And so,
well, there's no shortage of pitchers in LA.
No, there is not. But still, you want to have your guys up there because they're the best pitchers, not because everybody else is on the IL.
Right.
And so that's going to be that's going to be worth watching throughout the season. So I'm concerned about him, the same as you, Tyler Glasnow, because of his health issues. And so walking, that's a problem to me.
Yeah. All right. Any other topics you want to discuss before we move on to waiver?
Gunnar Henderson Okay, for those that were concerned about him, made his season debut on Friday, and hopefully, because it's not 1 for 13 is where he starts.
Yeah.
And so that's going to get better. You can be sure about that. Let's see. That was pretty much it. Everything that we talked about, the standings and everything else, we're good. So, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. I got some other things we could talk about, but I think we'll hold off, save it for another week. Because we've got things that will be on throughout the season, of course, as well. So, all right, that's the Hot Corner presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution, righteousfelon.com, promo code BELLYUP to get you 15% off your purchase at checkout. All right, let's get into the waiver wire discussion on the Fantasy Focus. Fantasy Focus is presented by SeatGeek. Hey, you going to a game sometime soon? Well, check out SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code BELLYUPSports. You're going to get $20 off your very first purchase. All right, let's get into the waiver wire. We're going to start with the drops.
Okay.
Talk about guys we're gonna unload this week, and maybe even a why on those as well. Kevin, I'll start with you. Who do you got?
Okay, so last week I mentioned that David Bednar does not deserve to be on a fantasy roster. Well, he doesn't deserve to be on any roster because he got sent down to AAA. Okay, and yet he's still on almost 40% of rosters. I don't understand this. Come on, people, drop him and do it. I'll wait a few seconds if that's what it takes for you to go. Drop him immediately. And so I have that, and talked about Charlie Morton. He's still a drop. And let's see, Christopher Morel over there in Tampa. Okay. And he plays second, and he plays third, he plays DH, but he's not doing any of that well. All right. And so no home runs, 1 RBI, 3 runs. And he didn't start in 3 games. This is a huge problem if you've got a guy at the bottom of your roster and he's not even playing in games. He's got to go.
Yeah.
And so let's see. And Lane Thomas, we talked about him earlier, of Cleveland. Outfielder, okay, 172, no homers, 2 RBIs, no runs scored. He's got to be one of the few players this deep in the season that doesn't have even a run scored yet. And so, and he has 1 steal. And so he's not getting it done. He was one of the guys we thought when he went to Cleveland would get things going up there. It is not. He needs to go. And unfortunately, Cam Smith, the rookie down there in Houston, okay, people were very excited about him. 111, no homers, no RBIs, 1 run scored. He had a hit on opening day, 1 of 15 cents. Okay. And this is, of course, only if you're not in a dynasty league. Okay. Because if you are, you're going to want to keep him on your roster, I would say. But if you're in redraft, he's got to go.
All right. Let me throw some more names at you. Dylan Cruz. I think it's time to go ahead and move on. Keep an eye on him, but he's batting 103.
I did.
2 runs, 2 stolen bases. He had 1 run and 1 stolen base today against Arizona. Before that, it's been pretty ugly from the Dylan Cruz world. I had to let him go this week as well in a league. It's just time to move on and keep an eye on him. Max Muncy, if you got him in a league, I know Kevin, you were never high on him for coming into the season, but you were right. And so Max Muncy, time to let him go. There are other options out there. Tanner Houck, the Boston pitcher. What I put down on my notes for him is streamer. He's no longer viable to keep on your roster. If he's up against the right matchup, so be it. But he shouldn't just be sitting on your roster, taking up a roster spot. Tanner Houck has not been good this season, and I had it pulled up, and then I lost it. Let's see here. Tanner Houck for Boston this year. He started off against the Rangers, 5.2 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 0 fantasy points. Against Baltimore, 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts for 7 fantasy points. His next matchup is Wednesday against Toronto. I'm still just not in it on that one for Tanner Houck. 54% rostered still to this day. I think he becomes a streamer this year versus a viable everyday roster spot taker upper, in my opinion, on that one. I also dropped, by the way, this wasn't originally on my list. I dropped Rhys Hoskins in a league as well. I mean, if you're in a deep league, then maybe not, but he's just not pulling his weight right now. And I think he's taking up a roster spot on first base where you can get better at as well. All right, let's get into ads this week. Kevin, who's your first addition this week?
My first addition is a pitcher. We talked about Philadelphia, and that's Jose Alvarado. Okay. First 4 appearances, he struck out 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so he's striking out everybody he's facing pretty much. He's got a win, 2 saves, and a hold. Okay, already. And he's only at 11.1% rostered. And so, I'm not big on relief pitchers, but if you are, he goes right to the top of the list. They've got tomorrow, Philadelphia, off. And so on Tuesday, after the day off, he'll be right there ready to go again. So you can plug him into your lineup. And so I'm going with Jose Alvarado, number 1 pickup for me.
Okay. Let me give you a second baseman from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Kyren Paris, 5.6% rostered right now. He's batting .444, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 30 total fantasy points on the season so far. Against Cleveland today, he went yard, a home run, and a stolen base as well. He had another big scoring game against St. Louis, where he had an RBI and a stolen base. He went on a little bit of a spell there, Chicago and St. Louis with stolen bases. He took 2 games without getting a stolen base before getting another one today. Second base is an interesting position group. I think it's pretty deep right now, honestly, or at least fairly even. Maybe is a better word for it. But Kyren Paris is playing some really good baseball out there in Los Angeles. And just I think a really good get right now, especially if you need some second base help.
And second base is one of those positions where you could probably use some help. So I like that one. And so I'm going to move to a rookie, okay? And that's Jacob Wilson over there with I almost said it, okay? Athletics, all right? He's at 15% rostered, but he has hits in all the games that he has appeared in. All 10 games, he's hitting .351, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 5 runs scored. And so at 15% and playing in that stadium, we talked about that stadium up there in Sacramento. And the A's need all the runs they can get, as we've talked about, because they're giving up 10 runs a game up there. And so Jacob Wilson, I know he's a rookie, and he's hot right now. So pick him up and get him on your roster while he's hot and ride the wave.
Very nice. All right, when they go with another young gun, outfielder from the Tampa Bay Rays, Jake Mangum. He is 6.7% rostered right now. Another stolen base guy. He's batting .435, 3 runs, 4 RBIs, 4 stolen bases. Had a great series against Pittsburgh. He's 2 for 6 right now, and 1 stolen base against the Rangers. They just concluded that series down there in Tampa. So, or in Texas, I guess, technically. Anyways, outfielder, your outfielders are one of those things you're kind of churning throughout the year. Jake Mangum, I mean, Tampa has had a history of young guys playing some really good baseball.
Yes,
and so if you can keep them legal, that goes a long way. And right now, Jake Mangum is. So I think he's a solid pickup right now if you need some outfield help.
I would agree with that. I said I was going to highlight a Seattle Mariner despite their struggles, and that's Dylan Moore. Okay. He qualifies at second, short, third, and outfield, and he's going to add DH to that list as well. He is at 7.6% rostered. Hits in 6 of 8 games. He's hitting .368. So That puts him right there hitting cleanup, you would think, for the Seattle Mariners. Probably not, but 2 homers, 2 RBIs, 3 runs, a stolen base. And this season, he started at first, second, and third, and DH. And so he's playing all over the place, and he's not a regular at any position, but that does not matter one iota because he's going to be in the lineup. And you got to figure that some of these Rodriguez and some of these other guys will get it hopefully together. And so get in on the ride while it's at 7.6%. This guy's got eligibility all over the place, so I'd like him really a lot.
Nice. I got another young outfielder. This is a guy that you're not racing out to get necessarily, but it's Kyle Stowers. They're in Miami, 1.1% owned. He's hitting 250, 3 runs, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, and a stolen base. Against the Mets is where he did his most damage, but he also played against Atlanta this week, and he was 2 for 9 in that series. So I just think Miami's a team right now. As my next guy is a Miami guy also. I think Miami's a team right now to keep an eye on matchup-wise, ballpark they're playing in. They got some of these guys that aren't really rostered in many places, but in the right setup, the right field, the right matchup. I think there's some guys, some real value with the Marlins.
It would certainly see they're off to a better start than I would have thought they would be, and so I like that. And so a player that I'm surprised you have not brought up yet, and that's Sal Frelick of your Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah. Is he available anywhere? My goodness. How's he not rostered?
He's at 11.7% rostered.
Okay.
11.7%, hits in 8 of 10 games. Okay. And he's had 4 2 or more hits games. All right. He was 4 for 5 the other day. And so he's driving in runs, he's scoring runs, he has a couple of stolen bases. And so if you're needing any outfield help at all, and we know that the Brewers, they've already shown it after that horrible start, but their offense, I think, is going to be even better. And so Sal Frelick, get him on your team.
Yeah, I honestly was terrified he was going to get popped for PEDs. He bulked up this offseason, and that scared me to death. But he's playing some good baseball. He's an absolute delight to watch play. Defense, I mean, the guy, he's not as small as Altuve, but he's short. And the way he plays in the outfield is incredible. So, yeah, I fully endorse Sal Frelick as well. All right, my last guy is a pitcher for the Miami Marlins. 9.4% rostered, Max Meyer. He is 0 for 1, but listen to these stats. Against Pittsburgh to open the season, he went 5.2 innings. He had 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Against Atlanta, he goes 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. So you're looking at 15 strikeouts, 3.09 ERA. And when you're looking at picking up pitchers, streaming pitchers, 3.09 is a pretty solid ERA to be streaming on a guy. So again, right matchups, right place. Wednesday, he's at New York Mets on Wednesday, which you'd say, is that a good matchup? Typically, I would say no, but honestly, I think right now is the time you want to get the Mets. So give me Max Meyer as a starting pitcher pickup this week.
I don't know, I'm a long way from New York, so I don't know what the weather scenario is up there, but if it's cold, that's the time you want to start pitchers when the weather's cold.
Yes.
Okay,
I promise it'll be colder now than it will be in a month.
That's for sure. And so one last guy that I have is a pitcher, and that's Kris Bubic.
Okay.
Of the Kansas City Royals. He's at 24.1% rostered, so he may not be available in very many spots because 24% usually means about 60 or 70% in other platforms. But if he's available, this is what he's done: 2-0, and he's pitched 6 and 6 2/3 innings. He's given up 1 run, 1 on 8 hits, 16 strikeouts, 3 base on balls. There's few, if any, pitchers that are off to a hotter start than this guy. and sitting at less than 25% roster is a baffling mystery to me. And we all think that Kansas City, we like their team. And so if he's in your league and he's available, don't let that situation persist. Go and get him.
I like it. I like it very much indeed. All right. Well, that's our waiver wire suggestions, advice for you this week on the Fantasy Focus presented by presented by SeatGeek, SeatGeek.com.
That's right.
Code is Belly Up Sports for that one. All right. Well, hey, there you go. There's the show this week. Kevin, I know and again, I'm sure our bosses don't love us talking about the website being down. But it is currently down. But once it's back up and running, tell me what you got going on this week.
Well, you can very highly know that there's going to be a story coming out this week, and over on the Belly Up Facebook and Twitter, X, however you want to get into that, I have a very short video. Also, you just uploaded on the Belly Up YouTube page as well. Shorts where this is going to be an ongoing series for me throughout the season. Each week, I am going to name the hitting and pitching MVPs of the week, and that's already in the can. You can go to any of those sites that I mentioned and check that out. My pitching MVP, my hitting MVP, and please, comment. I already got a comment. People were saying very good job, so I appreciate that a lot. And so that's now available. And just want to give a shout because we were eating at Outback, just to throw this out there. And our waitress, Danielle, we were talking about basketball is where it started, and it evolved all the way into all kinds of sports. I gave her my business card and told her to check it out. So Danielle, if you're watching, welcome in. Okay. Right. She was very excited. She was going to go. She said when we were leaving, I'm going to go home and get on the computer tonight. So if you're watching, excitement like that is the reason why we do what we do. And so anyone else, you can always reach out to me at on X at Kevin62 WILSEA. And so I'm very excited. People like that get me pumped. And so if you need any advice, and that's in any of these areas, because the hockey and basketball are in the championship rounds right now, of which I am in both. I'm trying to win my basketball championship, fantasy, undefeated. So if anybody's out there saying to themselves, well, does Kevin know what he's talking about? Perhaps I do.
That's right.
Okay. So like I'm saying, check me out, ask me anything. All questions are open and appreciated.
Awesome, man. Let's see here. This week, Dad, you're probably going to hear this before I talk to you. We typically have a show on Thursday night, me and my dad, the Sports Stove Football Show. Not happening on Thursday night. I can promise you that. At least not at our normal time. We might have to do it earlier. I don't know. Dad, I'll talk to you about it. We'll get it figured out. But we're going to try to get some content out this week on the Sports Stove Football Show. But listen, if you love the NFL draft, that's what our focus has been. And this last week, we brought in a draft prospect, safety, Mike Smith Jr.
I did see that.
So check that out. It's a 10, 15-minute interview with him. And I love Mike. He's a great kid. Really cheering him on. When going into his senior season, he was projecting. Scouts were saying 4th, 5th round. His pro day didn't go as planned, so I'm still hoping he gets his name called. We'll see where he ends up going. But anyways, that interview's on the Sports Stove Football Show. You get that anywhere you get your podcast if you just search the Sports Stove Football Show. And it's also available on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel as well. But I'm hoping to get a show out this week. It may not happen, but we will see on that. And lots of stuff. My next mock draft was planning on going out this week. We'll see if that gets done or not. Already have 2 of them out there. So we're just getting closer to that. So that's good times as well. You can follow me on social media. I give some baseball comments. I give some football comments. I razz on some folks as well, some racing things too. So at Sports Stove, that's on Twitter and Instagram. And then I got some hats put up this week here in the studio.
I see that.
Got to get some more, but my newest hat is right over here, Nashville Sounds. I love it, man. It's a banger of a hat. So Pretty excited about that one. I still got to get a few more up. I'm mulling between hats and jerseys and different things that I want to get up. I have an award coming that should go up on the wall as well. So hopefully that'll be here this week. We'll see and get that up too. So we're still adding to the studio. We've got the studio put up just a couple weeks ago, and so we're still getting it completed as well. But nonetheless, next week, me and Kevin will be back. We'll be talking fantasy baseball, giving you advice, opinions, talking about Major League Baseball news and other things as well. He's Kevin Wilson.
That's right.
I'm Vince Stover. And, well, I hope that you have another great week of watching baseball. I know I sure enjoyed this one. The next one should be great, too. So have a great week, everybody.